What up, y'all, and welcome to the first episode of Producer Jules, featuring yours truly, Prophecy. Got a couple of production credits out there. I've got Sayari the Kid, Vantage Point, To Be Continued, Jagged Edge. I've also got joints for Ransom, The Mosque, Farewells, Captions, and Scapegoats, featuring 38 Special and Chez Noir. Just came to talk to y'all real quick about, my journey in this production game or whatnot. And, how I got to where I'm at right now and where I may be headed. Even though I was super hesitant to, really shoot this because I'm not really where I want to be. Pardon the finger injury and all. Got, a little sparring incident or whatnot. I'm a boxing coach too. But, I'm not really where I want to be. However, I do want to share my journey with y'all and, hopefully inspire those who choose to keep going and go ahead and, discourage those who aren't built for this, because it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot more patience than a lot of people are willing to give. I started sending out beats, before I got grays in my chin or whatnot. But how I touched down with Ransom is, sending cold emails. Back in like 2013, 2014 or whatnot, I used to just go on Twitter and, look up artist information in their bios or whatnot. I look for, emails that they had stuck in there. I didn't care if it was, the manager's email. I didn't care if it was the artist email. I had a whole list, and probably still do have that list sitting over here somewhere. But I had a whole list of individuals as to where, okay, I'm going to blind copy, copy, this email and send them all these beats. And, I've been sending out beats for well over a decade. And, I really didn't hear anything back. So I took it as I'm not really good enough yet. My sound's not where it needs to be. Or, you could actually be ahead of the sound. So the beats you have right now could be, ahead of its time. It could be the next wave or whatnot. So if you go back and listen to that beat that I made, The Mosque, I made that beat in 2022. The beat didn't get released until 2025. So I say that to say that you could be ahead of the time or whatnot. But yeah, anyway, I've been sending out beats and getting rejected for a super long time. And, it's really discouraging out here in the production game, honestly. Super discouraging. You've got a lot of people who you've got to really weave around. You've got to go through a lot of channels as far as this internet and the fact that everybody can sit right here like I'm sitting right now and send beats. So with artists having to filter through whack beats or trash or whatever, yours may just end up in the kicked pile or whatnot. It's not like back in the day where you put all your beats in the CD and you go and push play, or you get the aux or something. Nah, it's as common as turning right around on this computer right now, sending out, your best beats and, wishing the best of luck or whatever. So, yeah, it's a real tough business. It's a real tough game. I think I ran my first batch of beats to him back in 2014, 2015. And, I really never heard anything back. So I sent, and I actually gave up. I gave up producing for a while. It's something that always had a pull on me. So I would always go back to it and make new joints. Like I probably got 400 some odd beats sitting right behind me. And yes, I am a FL Studio producer. I started out messing around with FL Studio 3. And then I got an MP just because everybody else was using the MP. And, I'm Dilla influenced. I'm originally from Saginaw, Michigan, but I live in Alabama right now. But I went and got the MPC 2000. And started producing there. And then eventually I got back to the DAWs because all that hardware seemed to go irrelevant when all the hardware is simply already built into FL Studio. So I went back to FL Studio. I got the Source Magazine Unsigned Hype. Don't know if y'all can see that back there, but you know, I've got a couple of fair accomplishments in the music business. I also won the iStandard Beats to the Beats battle in Nashville, went to the Nationals in New York, didn't win that one. Made it to the second round, but didn't win it. But yeah, after all of that, I honestly thought after those accomplishments that, you know, things would get a bit easier because I felt like I was making my way through the proper channels, or I felt like I was making my way through filtering through what everybody may consider, you know, less talented or trash beats or whatever. So I'm like, okay, this is about to get a bit easier. Doors are going to start opening for me. Man, not a doggone door open for me. Not one. This business is consistently competitive. Consistently competitive. You know, the moment you have a placement or the moment you finally get, you know, a win or something like that, my advice is to act like you didn't win. Act like you didn't win. Act like you didn't get a placement. Just go right ahead and start working on the next thing. Because it's that easy to get left behind, you know, or it's that easy to miss an opportunity. It's real frustrating, honestly, especially when you put your heart and soul into your beats. You know, I want mine to sound a specific way. You know, I'm looking for chord progressions, and when I cut samples, it's got to sound a certain way. You know, I don't use other people's loops. I'm not a loop fanatic or anything like that. If I don't cut it, if I don't chop it, if I don't have that complete control of that, then I really don't want anything to do with it. I like coming up from, you know, the project when it's a baby, and then you just watch it, you know, blossom up and you build it into something. So when people say that I use loops, or if you accuse me of using loops, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck proving that. But yeah, it's a real strenuous business, and the grind is never, ever, ever like going to stop. It's nonstop. No matter what you feel, no matter how you feel, you have to keep going and keep growing. And eventually, your sound will actually change because you'll get better with repetition. You'll get better improvements on the way that your sound actually sounds, that your beats actually sound. You know, my inspirations as far as production go back. You know, I'm 44, so a lot of these newer guys are not, you know, inspirations for me. So like I said, I'm from Michigan. So of course you're going to get Dilla, you know, as an inspiration. You're going to get Just Blaze as an inspiration. You're going to get DJ Premier as an inspiration. You're going to get Knots as an inspiration. Bink as an inspiration. You're going to get Denon Porter as an inspiration. Black Milk as an inspiration. You know, DJ Quick as an inspiration. Raphael Sadiq as an inspiration. You know, I'm a real soul guy. You know, I like my beats and I like my production to sound a certain way. I like it to sound full. I like it to sound like it can touch your soul even without an artist on it. So those are my inspirations. I had a couple of questions that were asked to me or whatnot. I'm going to have to reference them in a minute or whatnot. But let me get to those questions real quick, matter of fact. So one of the questions I was asked on X is, what drives your inspiration? I just love music. I've tried to quit this thing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times or whatever. You know, especially after the frustration of not getting any placements, not getting the response that I want, you know, or that I wanted. I've tried to quit this thing a multitude of times. However, I grew up in music. I've been playing the piano since I was 10 years old, alto saxophone when I was 11, you know, played in the middle school concert and jazz band. Then I went to high school and switched to the tenor saxophone at 14, started playing the bass guitar at 15, got in the high school marching band, made drum major in marching band, messed around with the trombone and the tuba a bit, went on to college, Central State University, IMM, shout out, salute. I played the baritone horn for the first year, made drum major, the last 3 years of my tenure there or whatever. So I've always been around music, and it's always something that drives at me and keeps me going. And I think it's just in my blood. I can pick up any instrument and play it. I can do everything but sing. Do you listen to tracks from others and find motivation that way? I can. It depends. It really depends. I gotta hear something like soul thumping for me to do that. Some high tech, some Ninth Wonder. I gotta hear something that takes me somewhere else. Knots or whatever the case is. When I gotta hear something and start breaking my neck, and I gotta feel it. That's something I like about soul music. Or chopping soul samples or whatever the case is I get to feel it inside. You know what I'm saying? Like you get that feeling. It's like you just can't help but to start breaking your neck. Like who is that? Like if I get the who is that face, who is that? I definitely got to get in the lab. So that's one of my inspirations right there as far as, motivation. Or is it just a random feeling that could vary day by day? It's random too. And like I said, it just depends. It's those rare occasions as to where something stands out. Because nowadays in the music business, the majority of stuff, 85-95% of the stuff sounds the same. It has the same snare patterns. It has the same hi-hat patterns. Nothing's different. Nothing stands out. Got the 808s. You got the bass lines off key or whatever, and it's just like, okay, whatever. I'm bored, and it makes me lose inspiration until I hear something like Coco Jones, the ICU joint. That joint stood out like, yo, what is this? So when you come out with something, the Solange Cranes in the Sky stood out, so I like to make standout production. When I made the Mosque for Ransom, when that came across or whatever, and let's get into that story. When I made the Mosque, I pulled up the sample, and me personally, I don't go back and listen to if somebody else did the sample. That's none of my business, none of my concern. I really don't care. It's not my business at all for me to go back and say, okay, such and such already used this sample. I don't care. I'm going to use it my way, and I'm going to flip it my way. The way I'm using it is not going to sound like anybody else uses it. That's my goal anyway. But I won't find that out until after I produce the joint anyway. So I went and cut the sample up or whatever the case is. It's not a loop. It's a chop. I don't necessarily like to, use loops. I'm not using anybody else's loops. It's nothing personal, to loop makers or nothing like that. If that's your business model, go ahead and do that. However, me, I like to chop, I like to pull, I love to chop samples, put them together and make something sound, like my own. So I pulled it together, and originally I sent it to him with no bass line on it. And like I said, I made it in 22. So I sent it back to him in 22. And this is another jewel for you producers. Sometimes you have to resend beats. Like, even though you sent it one time, send it again. Give it 6 months and send it again, because the artist's ear may be in a different position and they may be looking for something, that you may already have lined up, but they forgot about, because I could imagine Rand is getting bombarded with tons of beats, so resend them. So I'm sure I resent it maybe 2 or 3 times or whatever. And he sent me a text and was like, it sounds like it's missing something. It sounds like it's missing the bass line. So I'm like, all right, bet, give me 10 minutes. And I got my bass over here on the wall or whatnot. I love to play live bass, on my beats or whatnot. Boom, sent the bass line to him. Sent it to him with the bass line on it. And didn't hear nothing for a while, so. During these periods of inactivity, producers, listen. My metaphor is planting the seed, right? plant a seed, you walk away. You plant it, you put it in the fertilizer, soil or whatever, and you walk away, right? Eventually you come back and what? You water it. Boom. You leave, you come back. You keep watering it until something blossoms. I say that to say, just keep watering the seed. I planted the seed and left it there. So I consider sending beats out planting seeds. I plant the seed, I move on. I plant the seed, I move on. I plant the seed, I move on. If something comes from it, great. If something doesn't come from it, nothing I can do about it. So I sent the beat and kept sending tons of other beats. I'm sure I've probably sent him hundreds of joints by now. But with him, he'll go mute, and be working and doing this thing. And then next thing you know, just send you what he did to it. So when he sent it back, I was like, yo, this is super, super, super dope. And this is back in 24 or whatnot. So, yeah, he sends the joint back and he was like, yeah, I'm working on a project. First he was like, I'm working on a project, with Bodie James or whatnot. So I'm just waiting for Bo to drop his verse on it. And I'm like, okay, bet, cool. And he said, keep sending joints, so we can, get this project together. Bet, let's work. I'm pumping and dumping. Boom. Making them up, sending them out, making them, sending them. And I sent him the beat for Farewells. And he responded with a text damn near immediately. It was like, I really dig this one. And when he says that, he's going to do something to it. But he was like, yeah, I really dig this one. So a couple of months go by or whatnot. I'm still sending. And I get a text back, or whatever the case is, and it's an MP3 file. And he sends me the joint, The Mosque. And the second verse, I'm expecting to hear Bodie James on the joint. Lo and behold, it's Dave East on the joint. And I'm like, yo, like, this is crazy. He was like, yeah, I'm working on a project, with East or whatnot. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. Now, another tip for you guys. And I hope you're still listening by now. Just because an artist rapped over your beat doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to get placed. I've had another song with Rand and 38 Special. Actually, Hitless was originally mine. But he was looking for something else sonically, I guess, or whatever. So he went with one of Vidon's beats or whatever the case is, and then went on the Vidon project. So don't get in your feelings about when your joints don't get placed, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to happen to you. You're going to get it back. You're going to get the file back. You're going to get all this, hype or whatever the case is. And then, boom, it can go flat and go silent, whatever the case is. Listen, don't let it get personal, whatever the case is. Don't mess up your future opportunities based on, a current missed opportunity. However, so he sent the joint back with him and East on it. And I was like, damn, like this can really get real. So I'm just keeping it quiet. I'm not saying anything, because like I said, I don't get really, excited or, up in arms about anything until I see credits, until I see paperwork, until I see, completion. And then he sends the Farewells joint. And I'm like, wow, man, this really could be something. So it's my first time having 2 joints working with Rand on the same project. Like I said, I did captions on No Rest for the Wicked. He said he had, it was this possibility that I might have even had 3 on there, but I only got 1. Grateful for it. However, that's how these things work. So right now it's looking like, I got 2 joints on the, on the album with him and Dave East. And I'm like, on the Final Call album. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep it quiet. I'm not going to get too happy. Not going to get too excited. I'm just going to chill, lay back, and wait until it comes out. So he hits me up and says, we shooting a video for your joint. And I'm like, yo, hey, yo, crazy, right? And I don't remember him saying he was going to shoot videos to both my joints, but he did, you know, which was super dope, you know. So I say all that to say, you know, I'm super elated, super excited, you know, super happy that I've got these placements going, you know, and I want to inspire you guys, ladies and gents, you know, in the producer business, in the producer space. You know, I've won beat battles, I've lost beat battles, I've got the Source Magazine Unsigned Hype, I've got a lot of things going, I've got good mentors, you know, in the business or whatnot. You know, I had some good experiences, bad experiences. I'm willing to share it all with you. And, you know, hopefully your career, you know, can lift off or whatever the case is, you know. So this is my first episode of Producer Jewels. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Feel free to ask any questions that you may have. And yeah, I'll address them all. I plan on shooting this weekly. So today is Monday. So maybe every Monday we'll do a Producer Jewels, or if I drop this Tuesday, whatever the case is. Maybe every Monday, maybe every Tuesday, Producer Jewels. You know, I might even start chopping up some beats behind me or something, you know, on the live or whatever. So, hey, please like, share, subscribe, comment, you know, let me know what's going on, what you want to know based on, you know, my experiences, because this is all based on my experiences, you know, my experiences and lack thereof, you know. So, yeah, man, it's your boy Prophecy. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll holler at y'all later.